Welcome back to the deep dive where we really try to get straight to the core insights. So what if the secret to achieving, well, pretty much any goal, what if it isn't just about grinding it out or maybe luck? What if there's actually a set of mental laws that apply to everyone? Well, today we're plunging into a true classic that says exactly that. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this book, it first came out way back in 1937. It's not just some old self-help text. People consider it one of the most influential books on success, on wealth, ever written. And here's what's really fascinating. Its origin. Hill apparently spent, 25 years researching this. He interviewed over 500 of the most successful people of his time. I mean, legends, right? Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack the 13 core principles he uncovered. These are designed, he says, to help anyone achieve, well, yes, financial success, but also personal goals and maybe mental clarity.
It really is amazing how timeless these ideas feel. Almost a century old, and yet they still resonate. The core idea, as Hill puts it, is that real riches actually start in your mind. Success, for him, is the direct result of having a definite purpose, unwavering faith, incredible persistence, and this is key, an intense, burning desire.
Okay, let's unpack that. A burning desire. So we're diving into these 13 principles that supposedly turn thoughts into action, into success. We have to start with principle 1. Desire, the starting point of all achievement. And Hill is really clear here. This isn't just like a casual wish. It's got to be this intense burning desire. He says when you combine that with belief and action, that's when it transforms into reality. He even suggests, writing down exactly what you want, how you plan to get it, and then reading it aloud daily. It all leads back to that famous quote, doesn't it? Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
That phrase, burning desire, it's so central, isn't it? Because, just wishing for something, it often doesn't have the fuel, the emotional power to get you past the inevitable roadblocks. And from that intense desire, we naturally move to principle 2, faith, believing in yourself and your dreams. And right alongside that, principle 3, autosuggestion, reprogramming the subconscious mind. Hill explains faith isn't passive. You don't just hope for it. You actively develop it through consistent positive affirmations, repetition.
So you're actively building it, not just waiting for it to show up.
Exactly. And doing that builds real confidence. It lets you act decisively, keep going, even when things look like failures. Autosuggestion, then, is the method. It's how you deliberately feed those positive thoughts, those goals, right into your subconscious. You're kind of bypassing your conscious doubts to, literally reprogram your inner beliefs so they line up with what you truly want.
Right. So desire is set, belief is being built. Yeah. What's the next practical piece Hill talks about?
Well, it's about knowledge, but not just any knowledge. Principle 4, specialized knowledge. Learn what you need to know. Hill really hammers this point. General knowledge is fine, but it won't make you successful in a specific field. You need specialized, actionable knowledge. The key is continuous learning and applying that specific knowledge to your goals, becoming a real expert in what actually matters for your vision.
That makes a lot of sense. And the specialized knowledge, where does it get its power? According to Hill, it's in principle 5, imagination, the workshop of the mind. He basically says every great invention, every success story, it all started as an idea in someone's imagination. So it's about developing that creative thinking muscle, and actively using it to solve problems, create opportunities, and create wealth. That's where the new stuff gets forged.
Absolutely. So you've got these powerful mental tools lined up. Desire, faith, specialized knowledge, imagination. But how do you actually, make something happen? Bridge that gap between thought and results. This is where Hill gets really practical.
This is where principle 6, organized planning turn thought into action, comes in. And right with it, principle 7, decision mastery of procrastination. Hill is blunt here. Goals without plans. Just wishes. You need a clear action plan. Even if it's not perfect at first, just get started. Take immediate steps. And he noticed successful people, highly decisive, they make choices. Failure, he saw, often comes from just not deciding, from being paralyzed by fear or indecision. The trick is to make firm decisions and then, stick with them. How often do we see that? Indecision being the real killer.
Oh, way more often than lack of ability, definitely. And once you have made those decisions, set the plans. You absolutely need principle 8, persistence, the sustained effort needed to succeed. Hill saw that most people fail simply because they give up too soon, not because they weren't smart enough or talented enough. Persistence is like the engine. It transforms that initial desire into its actual equivalent, whether that's money or something else. It's about pushing through obstacles, keeping your eyes on the prize until you get there, knowing setbacks aren't the end, just, bumps in the road.
And individual effort is crucial, but Hill also emphasized the power of collaboration, right? That persistence can be amplified. That brings us to principle 9. Power of the mastermind: surround yourself with like-minded people. He strongly believes success gets multiplied, like dramatically, when you work with a supportive group. People who not only encourage you, but also challenge you. Your mastermind group, he called it. They share ideas, offer support, provide this collective strength that's just way beyond what one person can do alone, sort of like a collective brain trust.
And then comes a principle that sometimes makes people pause. Principle 10. The mystery of sex transmutation. Redirecting energy. Now, the title sounds a bit dated, maybe, but Hill wasn't really talking about sex in the way we might first think. He was observing how incredibly powerful human creative and emotional energy is. His point was about channeling that intense energy, which he associated strongly with the sex drive, channeling it away from just physical expression and into productive outlets, things like business, art, innovation, problem solving. He saw redirecting this potent drive as a huge source of motivation and achievement. Basically, take that powerful human force and aim it purposefully.
That's a really interesting way to think about channeling energy, taking something primal and redirecting it. And building on that, the idea of the subconscious channeling energy. We get principle 11, the subconscious mind, a bridge between desire and action. And also principle 12, the brain, a broadcasting and receiving station. Hill explains your subconscious is like a recording device, constantly taking in your thoughts, beliefs, emotions. So if you consistently feed it positive intentions, positive goals, it starts guiding you towards them almost automatically. And when he talks about the brain being like a broadcasting station, it's this idea that our dominant thoughts aren't just internal chatter. They kind of radiate outwards, influencing our perception, attracting opportunities, aligning us with our goals, like tuning into a certain frequency.
Yeah, it really speaks to how much our internal state seems to shape our external reality. It's quite profound when you think about it. And then finally, the culmination of all this is principle 13, the sixth sense, the door to infinite intelligence. What's really fascinating here is how it builds. Hill describes this sixth sense as a higher level of understanding. It comes through intuition, that gut feeling, maybe even a sense of divine guidance and decision-making. But he stresses this usually only develops after you've mastered the other 12 principles. It's like an integration of everything leading to this heightened perception.
Okay, so 13 principles. What does this all boil down to for you listening right now, thinking about your own goals?
I think the core message from Think and Grow Rich is actually quite simple, but powerful. Success starts in your head. It's a mindset game. You have to train your thoughts, believe totally in your dream, and then take disciplined, consistent action day in, day out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Hill's research really hammered home that the biggest obstacles are often internal: fear, doubt, negativity. He saw them as the true enemies of success. They sabotage us before we even really get going.
Yeah. And here's where I think Hill's work gets really interesting, especially for a whole person view of success. He was crystal clear. Riches isn't just about money. It also includes personal growth, achieving peace of mind, having strong relationships, experiencing real freedom. It's a much richer, broader definition of, well, being rich.
It really is. His enduring point is that every great success story, doesn't matter if it's financial or personal, it always starts with two things: a clear, definite goal and an absolutely unshakable belief that you can achieve it. Like he famously said, set your mind on a definite goal and observe how quickly the world stands aside to let you pass.
It's pretty incredible how deep Napoleon Hill went into the power of mindset, belief, and just sheer action. These principles, born from all that research decades ago, they really do seem timeless. A kind of roadmap for anyone who's serious about defining and achieving their own version of rich.
Maybe that leaves us with something to chew on. A final thought for you. If riches can truly mean personal growth, peace of mind, relationships, freedom, how might focusing on those aspects change the way you chase any definite goal, even one that seems purely financial? How might your own definition of rich expand after thinking about this? And could that expanded definition actually lead you to a more fulfilling path? Something to consider.